Woke him up, as you said. What's that? Yeah. Okay.
Jim, when you look back on that Ravens game, what did you think the key was on that final stop to keep them out of it?
We could have made life easier on ourselves. Not giving up contain to the left, which is, it's easier said than done. You have probably the most elusive quarterback, all due respect to Fran Tarkington and Michael Vick, maybe in the history of the NFL. So that makes it a little tough, but we try to stress don't jump when it comes to getting him in the open field. You got to tackle him like a running back, and we jumped and just gave him a free shot at it. But our coverage did a good job plastering down there. When it's all said and done, you got 7 guys back there. They got 5 receivers, and you just got to sort it all out, and we were able to get that play made. Doesn't make it easier on coaches when it takes so long for it to go, but I'm sure our fans were the same way.
Philosophically, obviously, Baltimore has Lamar in their offense, but is there similarities between the two Harbaughs and what the kind of offensive football they want to play?
Yeah, and a lot of the DNA left over from Baltimore was Greg Roman, who's now the offensive coordinator with Chargers. A little bit of an old school approach. It's try to get first downs. Old school play actions, power running game. There's a lot of teams where, I think maybe a couple years ago, I don't know if we went the whole season without seeing 21 personnel, fullback and, 2 wideouts or even the big packages. And, that's just sort of standard for those guys. It's just sort of a throwback a little bit, but run, play action. Play action doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a home run shot. A little bit old school, just leak somebody to the flat, keep the chains moving, run a lot of screens, those kind of things. They get in field goal range, don't take a whole lot of chances, get their field goal backed up, don't take a whole lot of chances, punt the ball is fine, it really is. It's an old school way of playing it, and, so there are some similarities, that way. But there's still a lot of challenges with it too. The quarterback has maybe the best arm talent in the NFL, and he's now getting healthy with his mobility. Runs the offense really well, tough scheme. They certainly are playing well, and they're going to take our full attention.
You're a little light at linebacker right now, so how do you compensate for that against a team that likes to smash them out?
Yeah, we got guys that have to step up. Mahmoud stepped up last week, played an outstanding game for us. It wasn't a perfect game by any means, but made a lot of plays for us and allowed us to execute when it was all said and done last week. Stopped the run, win on 3rd down, and 3rd and 4th down, we did a really, really good job. That was a team that was number 1 in the NFL in 3rd down with a bullet, and held them to about 20%. So that was mission accomplished. And even though our run game didn't look real good, I think it can get skewed a little bit with the scramble and then the one big play to Henry. But we didn't allow them to consistently move the ball and keep churning the sticks with the run game. I think you just wipe those 2 plays out, all the quarterback runs, designed runs, all the Derrick Henry plays, everything else, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 plays for 60 yards. So I thought that had a lot to do with it. The linebackers had a lot to do with that portion of it. Jeremiah played a really, really good game until he went out. Mahmoud stepped in, played really well, but we got some good contributions. Nate stepped in, had some good contributions. Wynn played a little bit. We'll need just a little bit more from those guys.
Off of that, how tough was it to see Jeremiah go down, and what have the conversations been like with him? Have you gotten to talk to him since that, and how's he feeling?
Yeah, I'll let him speak on that thing. I've had that in my career a couple different times. I was in Philly, and Avonte Maddox went down with the exact same injury. That was back in 2020, I think. We were playing Green Bay. And I saw that happen to Ray Lewis early in his career. It was training camp practice. I think it was his second year in the NFL. And they brought a helicopter in for him. You know, he was strapped to the board, and he had no feeling for about 2 minutes or so, and then started getting it back and, you know, things like that. So, you know, I have seen that a couple times, and hopefully Jeremiah has the same recovery that those two guys had.
I feel like the cornerback group played after Denzel went down, and how do you think they could fare in this game?
I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. How do you think the cornerback group played with Denzel going down? How do you think they'll fare this week if they have to lose Denzel?
Yeah, I mean, we played good enough to get a win. You know, we're all 2-6, so you know, I think that's probably part of the thing. You know, I thought one of the big factors in that game was Denzel stepping up and thumping the fullback on one of the first runs of the game. You know, they forced your corners to tackle and make those guys play like strong safeties, and we weren't perfect in that. We missed a tackle further on down the line and things like that, but those guys battled, and you know, it's tough. Sometimes you got to cover for a long time when Lamar Jackson's back there, but we did enough to get the win.
Jim, do you keep a running total on dropped interceptions?
Yeah, maybe no, because it depressed me too much.
Correct that, is it just bad luck?
I mean, it's just keep working, just keep trying to be in position, you know, trying to put the players in position. You know, the guys have been doing extra when it comes to the jugs machines and things like that, but you know, we just got to start coming down with our fair share of those. We have a lot of PBUs, but PBUs don't necessarily change the game. You know, INTs are what changes the game. And, you know, we had our hands on a couple. Now, the one that Grant had, we stopped him on 4th down, like a play later or 2 plays later, whatever it was. So that one sort of go on. But, you know, Denzel had 2 hands on the ball right there. And not only do if we get that, but we also set our offense up in good scoring position, and that could have made life easier on us. So happy to get the win, but when it was all said and done, there's a lot of things we can do in that game to make life easier on ourselves. And you know, you're not going to make all those plays, but we need to start making our fair share.
In this game, I mean, yesterday Kevin said Denzel is day to day. So
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Oh, yes, right. So I mean, but you, Jim, plan as if you will not have him, not knowing what.
Yeah, I mean, you always do. You know, you prepare for him to play, you prepare for him not to play. The same we do for any other player. It does change the game plan, you know, at times. That's just life in the NFL. You know, you try to use the guys that you have and do what they can do well, and try to do what they do well that takes away what the opponent does. And it's no different with a corner as it is with a linebacker, different part of the game, but, you know, you just try to make the most of what you have available to play. You know, when, like, you know, you guys know me, I'm a baseball fan and everything else, and I fret a lot more about injuries on, like, the baseball teams that I root for, right? It's, oh my gosh, so-and-so's out, what are we going to do? Coaches, we don't spend a lot of time. Like, we very rarely, it's just like, oh, he's not out there? All right, next guy, how do we plug and play him? What's best for him? And we don't have a lot of hand-wringing or lamenting, or worry. It's just part of our business. You always want your best players out there, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back out there.
Is Zadarius really comfortable in this defense this season? It just seems like he's really found his rhythm, getting to the quarterback and playing really well there off the edge.
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy that had a couple missed opportunities in this game, but he's been slippery in the pass rush. He's been playing with great effort, and You know, he's always been a super tough guy that understands football and those kind of things. I don't necessarily think it's second year more comfortable as much as it is he's finishing some plays that last year he didn't necessarily finish, you know, and, you know, had sacks that sort of slipped out of his grasp, or he made a great rush and the quarterback had just gotten rid of the ball. I think if you just sort of, you know, just compare what happened on the play, he's been very consistent last year to this year.
It's been a quiet year for Quentin Jefferson. He's been inactive 3 games. What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, we got some good defensive tackles. We got Mo back from the injury from early in the season, and same time we got Mike Hall back, and we've been getting really good production out of Shelby and Dalvin. Those guys have clogged up. I mean, I think our rally in stopping the run, and again, in this game, I consider that all but one play, and the guys inside did a pretty good job on the play that we did give up in the run game. Those guys have a lot to do with it. So it's really just a numbers game. You got 4 guys active. Shelby, Dalvin, you know, Mo's been playing well, and Mike's given us a spark too. And Mike is rushed passer. You know, there's going to come a time when Q's going to be out there and he'll be ready. He's a veteran player, and he did a nice job for us early in the season.
Jim, I know sacks obviously aren't everything, but it's been 4 games for Miles without one, I think. And so what's he doing to still disrupt opposing teams, and what are maybe some of his missed opportunities?
Well, you know, he had a couple missed opportunities in that game. And again, I mean, is it a missed opportunity when, you know, when you got a one-on-one with Lamar Jackson? You know, I mean, it is for a guy like Miles, but, you know, that's tough duty there. You know, I think it just, like, you just go and look, people run away from him. His ability in the run game continues to impact our team. And then it's hard to hold a team that's number 1 in the NFL in third downs to 20% unless you're getting contributions out of guys like Miles. So, you know, we just keep our eye on those things. And, you know, we want all our players to be successful and, you know, to get stats and those kind of things, but when it's all said and done, you know, we're just trying to stop the opponent, and he's helping us in a lot of ways doing that.
Jim, not specific to the Chargers, but when you're game planning, are you putting more of an emphasis on nullifying a strength or exposing a weakness?
I don't know, probably yes. I mean, all that goes. Well, I think it probably just philosophically, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with this, but, you know, if a team is one-dimensional, but their one-dimensional is really strong, well, you take the approach of let's take their strength away because the other things they have to go aren't necessarily enough to beat you. But, you know, if you look and you say, you know, hey, look, this team's multidimensional, you can take one thing away, and they can still do a lot of other things, then you sort of play it that way. You sort of look at everything. You look at the players that you have, what you do well, how that matches up. I mean, it's all a big Venn diagram, you know, the things you do well versus things that take away what the opponent does well, and things that you can execute. And, you know, you have a lot of stuff that you can bring to the table when it's all said and done. The intersection of those Venn diagrams pretty much determines your game plan.
Did you watch that World Series last night?
I went to bed. I actually saw, I got home right when they were rallying for the 5-run 6th inning or whatever it was.
Yeah, he had 3 errors. He was to make 3 errors.
And then I was, peace out. Too tired. It was all this morning.
That was their fault.
Winning a 7-game series and a 5-game series. A lot different than winning 62 games. Those errors, you know,